So I want to welcome everyone to our fifth of six webinars in our Six in the Six webinar series to help you with your digital transformation. Today we'll be hearing from Sam Easton of Sonic IT Solutions, who's speaking to us about making paid ads work for you on social media. Let me give you a little background on Sam. An IT professional with many years of experience specializing in network support and Unix Linux system administration in the telecommunications, banking, and entertainment industries. A proven solid career, it's hard for me to read, that's all. That's a proven solid career track record backed with professional certifications and various related training. He enjoys learning about the latest innovations and IT related technologies. At that point, I'm going to turn this over to Sam to get us started. Welcome, Sam.
Okay, great. Thanks for the intro, Peter. So yeah, today I'll be talking about making paid ads work for you on social media, and I'll be focusing on mainly Facebook and Google Ads. So let's start with Facebook ads. So to create a Facebook ad, you need to build a campaign, which is just a container for your ad sets. And then your ad set is where you're going to be configuring the detailed targeting of who to show your ads to. And this is also where you're going to configure your split testing if you want to, which is strongly suggested for budgeting purposes. And it's also where you're going to be spending the most amount of time. And then the ad is just where you add your content, and it's basically the final product that appears to your audience. So Business Manager is where you will be configuring your Facebook ads. And to get there, you just simply follow this URL, business facebook.com. And obviously you should already have your Facebook business page set up. And then once you're there, you navigate from more tools to audience. And then from there, you should set up as many audience types as required in advance. And then you can tie the audience types to your ad. And here are just some of the different types of audience sources you can set up. Typically, you want to use your website if you have one as a source, or if you do not, then you will be using your Facebook page or Instagram account if you have your Facebook page tied to your Instagram. And also, sorry about the phone call there. And also, so we'll go to the next slide. And then once you're in Ad Manager, you're going to navigate to create a new campaign. And this is an extremely important topic of discussion in terms of choosing your campaign objectives. So I'm going to go over this in more detail in terms of the objectives. So let's start with the awareness category. You definitely need to, if you've got a new Facebook business page, you definitely want to get your brand awareness underway. And I just give an example here. If you have a shoe company, you'll probably want to target people, for example, who are already interested in Manolo Blahnik shoes with a brand awareness ad. And with the reach ad, you want to target people as possible. It's just kind of like a major blast ad. And then under the consideration category, traffic is definitely one of the most significant methods of advertising. Yes, for example, yeah, if you want to bring customers into your e-commerce store, your affiliate site, or your lead magnet landing page, you have a lot of possibilities of getting good traffic with a traffic ad. And you can basically think of a traffic campaign as step 2 in your ad life cycle, which I'll discuss later on. Step 1 would be the engagement social proof ad, which is next. So basically, the engagement advertising is definitely one of the most important to build up what's called social proof. So if you've got a brand new Facebook business page, and you want to drive traffic to your page, people like to follow a crowd. So if you've got a brand new Facebook business page and there's like no likes, shares, and you're, for example, you've got a lead magnet set up, people will take a look at your page and see that there doesn't seem to be any evidence of anybody visiting your page. So that may be kind of a turnoff. So you definitely want to build up the engagement. And then next, video views are extremely important. And what makes videos so valuable is not only the fact that you've got moving imagery, but it takes more time to actually set up a video. And for that reason alone, most other Facebook advertisers don't necessarily do that. So that'll put you further ahead of the competition. And then lead generation is a great way to bring traffic into your site, because you're typically offering something free of value. And your objective, obviously, is to collect email addresses and contacts. And then lastly is the conversion category. And what you're doing here is you're taking advantage of Facebook's massive amount of data and using it to your favor. So like when you create a conversion campaign, it's telling Facebook basically to go out and find other people who share as many similarities as possible to the people who have done some conversion events related to your business. And catalog sales, that's pertaining mostly to your e-commerce. And what's great about that is you can set it and forget it. And with catalog sales, you're using an ad type called, it's a dynamic product ad. So once you set it, you're basically dynamically retargeting people who view your products. And store visits are basically for offline brick and mortar stores, but they're not used very much, but they're still valid. And the messaging category of ads, sorry, the messaging ad, I didn't mention it here because that's a whole other topic, and it pertains mostly to chatbots. And I didn't mention the app ads because it's rarely used. So basically, just to tie this all together, in your ad life cycle, as I mentioned before, it's extremely important if you have a new Facebook business page, you need to build up social proof. You need to show that there's some popularity with your page, and then you can attract people into your ecosystem with a lead magnet campaign. And then once you've gained more people viewing your site by placing the same ads created in your engagement campaign into a traffic campaign, you can leverage the power of Facebook by your pixel data to scale up with a conversions campaign. Okay, so before we go into Google Ads, I just wanted to go into my business page and do a live demo here. So let's start with Ads Manager. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. This is where you're going to create your objective, your campaign objective. It gives you, if you hold your mouse over the various objectives, it gives you an idea, but it doesn't. I wanted to break out and expand on these definitions because they don't really go into details, and it's extremely important to understand what these objectives are all about because they're the heart of your advertising. So let's go here. And then from here, another really important little trick I've learned is if you go into audience insights, click on everyone in Facebook. And this is where you should also spend a lot of time, like take a lot of notes when you're here. So for example, let's say if I'm targeting Ontario, my location is Ontario, province of Ontario, and I want to target fitness and wellness, let's say yoga. Okay, so this is telling me that I definitely want to look at the fact there's 72% women in this interest group. And I definitely would want to set up 3 different campaigns, one of the 25 to 34 age group range, one of the 35 to 44 age group, and then the last one would be in the 45 to 54 age group. I also want to take a look at their relationship status, education level, job titles, and then drill down into these. You also want to take a look at page likes, location, activity. So you definitely want to spend a fair amount of time here drilling down, taking notes, and then start building your campaign. Now, I noticed here that they're saying this audience insight is going away as of July 1st. I'm not sure what that means. Like there's another insights area here, but that only covers your page. So I'm hoping what they mean is that they're moving the entire insights into this location. So let's take a look at one more thing, and this will be where you create your lead gen form. Okay, so this is where you create the form. Let's just go through the process here. So just name your form. This is where you place your image, headline, and then this part is important. You need at least, obviously, you want to collect an email, name, and then there's other information you can gather here. And this is where you can place your privacy policy link. And this is your call to action. So in this case, if you don't have a website, you can offer, for example, a free booklet. And this is where you put your link. And then you would publish. So let's get out of here. Okay, so let's continue on with Google Ads. So what you need for a Google Ads. So obviously you'll need a Google Ads account and then a Google Tag Manager account. So a tag is just a piece of code that you place on your web page, and then when a user completes a specific action on that page that you want want to be triggered, this allows you to be aware of an action being taken on that page. For example, if a user adds a product to their shopping cart, the tag fires. And Google tags are installed on your Google Ads account. And then next you'll need a Google Analytics account, which is another pretty huge topic. And then what's in your Google Ads account? You have search, which is basically you have to build a keywords list, and your display ads, which basically just convey your message with potential customers at the right place and the right time. And then video, which will be your YouTube. And you're basically just going to be running ads with customers interacting with your YouTube channel videos. And then shopping, that requires another whole subset called the Merchant Center account. So let's take a look at Google Analytics. So once you get your Google Analytics account set up, you're going to be relying on it for keywords report, campaign report, and conversions report. If you have a small business, it's not really that hard to set up. But once you have um, a larger business, on medium to a large size business, you probably will want to get a professional involved, because Google Analytics site, it's quite, there's quite a lot involved in getting it set up, and especially in getting the type of reports you want. You need to know your objectives for the types of reports that are required, and it's quite involved. So another thing that I wanted to point out is, if you're going to be setting up these items yourself, such as Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics, you really should be drawing upon the vast educational tutorials that Google has. They want you to use their tutorial information. So with that, I just thought it would be a great idea to take a look at some really brief tutorials, and then I'll do like a live demo. Start with this one. So this is about Google Tag Manager.
Sound, Sam, on the video?
Oh,
We heard it for a brief second there.
okay. Could you hear that at all?
No, we couldn't, but there was closed caption on it.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to skip the second video with Google Analytics and just go into the demo. Okay, so this is where you're going to be spending most of your time in Google Ads. This will be your main navigation pane. So let's go to Audience Manager. And from here, you'll be setting up, I'm in the remarketing area, and this is where you're also going to be spending a lot of time. And you'll be setting up your list for remarketing. So I've got one set up here. And let's go into that list. Actually, let's go back here. And you'll want to go into audience sources. So this is where you're going to be taking a look at your Google Ads tag. So let's go into details. And then once you scroll down, this is where you have your tag set up. So you can either, you've got a choice here to install the tag code yourself. And if you click on this, it'll give you the snippet of code to upload to your tag, the header in your site on the page that you want it to be on. And or you can use Google Tag Manager. So if you click on Google Tag Manager, instructions, it gives you the option here to go to create a Google Tag Manager account. So let's do that. Because I haven't set up a Google Tag Manager account. I don't really need one, but I'll just go through the process here. I'm curious myself. So let's just say, set up my company. And your container is just your website. And my target platform is web. And then create. Okay, so then basically now it gives me my snippet of code. So I'm not going to go on my website and paste it there, but you get the idea. I'll just copy it and say, okay. And that's as easy as it is to create a Google Tag Manager account. So let's go back into, let's see one more thing here. Here's your keyword planner. This is for search ads. So you can discover new keywords dynamically. So let's say, for example, oh, I'm kind of stuck on yoga today. So let's say yoga, get results. So these are all the keywords you could be using pertaining to yoga. And I find that really cool because I've selected one keyword and I've gotten all these results. The value of the traffic on a monthly basis, competition value, and dollar value. Let's get out of here. So another interesting item is if you have a small business, Google has essentially a lot of freebies. So let's go into this. Let's go here. So these are all the tools that are available. For example, let's say, I'm starting a new business. And it gives you all of these pointers and tools. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to show the videos, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So there's a lot of, Google gives you a lot of tutorials and information step by step on how to use your product. But once you start scaling to beyond the small business, it gets quite complex. Like for example, like I said, I can't imagine setting up a Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager, Google pay-per-click campaigns with a medium to large business. Let's see. And let's see what else. Okay, let's try a new campaign. So once you're setting up a new campaign, what's really cool here is, let's take, for example, website traffic. So if you see what happens here is depending on the type of campaign you're setting up, you will be given certain campaign types that are available for that type of campaign. So with website traffic, you have search, display, shopping, video, discovery, app promotion. You only have apps. With product and brand consideration, only video. So just the whole navigation and settings in Google Ads has evolved tremendously compared to a few years ago when I was beginning to use it. So let's go back to my slides. I think that's, yep, that's pretty well it for my presentation. So if there are any questions, let me know.
Well, Sam, that's great. I appreciate that, learning about those two. We do have some questions. I want to ask you, what is what is split testing? You referred to it early on in the Facebook presentation.
Yeah, so split testing is basically you're taking, for example, when I went into those audience insights, and I looked at the different age groups. For example, I could take the different age groups and promote yoga clothing and see which age group responds better to the ad. So you're taking, for example, the same ad, and in this case, applying it to, displaying it to two different age groups, two different demographics. Actually, let me go into, that's the explanation. You're basically just targeting two different demographics in this scenario with the same ad.
And I suppose the response can help you determine where you go next.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, where you basically should be targeting your budget, depending on the response.
Okay.
And okay. Any other questions?
Oh yes, sure. So I want to ask you, you've given us two different systems, Facebook and Google Ads. Which are better for business to consumer, and which are better for business to business? How do they hold up in both scenarios?
Business to consumer and business to business. It's a good question. I would say
Is
I
it
mean they're both. I would.
is
Oh,
it
sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
sorry, is it a case where Facebook, because these are people really living their private lives and their personal lives, that's a great way to reach the consumer more than a business leadership, say?
Not really, because in Facebook you can target business owners. So I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I would say that I found it easier in Facebook to select and filter out business owners. So as far as navigation and finding it, finding it easier to target a certain audience, for business, I would say for me it would be Facebook compared to Google Ads. But I haven't tried targeting business in Google Ads, but just from the ease of navigation and drilling down to my detailed audiences, Facebook basically has it well laid out in terms of the audience types.
Okay, and the question Google Ads, where do Google Ads show themselves? I mean, you're buying a Google ad, but how does somebody see a Google ad?
Google Ad, it depends on what type of ad you're showing. So with Google Ad Display, your ad will be displayed on web pages that are relevant to your ad. So, for example, with a Google pay-per-click, your ad, let me just go to show an example. So let's see, search for, I don't know. Okay, so these are pay-per-click ads, and you'll notice that they're showing up at the top of the search. This is an obvious example. And then everything else is down here is organic. And yeah, so that's the most obvious Google ad, which is pay-per-click. And then your display ads can show up on a web page, any web page that is relevant to the search. And it appears right on it appears right on a website page, for example.
Okay, well, that's good. I want to move to tag accounts. So we know there's seems to be an unlimited number of web platforms these days, from WordPress to some of the simpler ones like Wix or what have you. Does Google Analytics work on all of the web platforms?
Take a look here. Yeah, I haven't tried it with, I would say, I would stick with WordPress. I haven't tried it with Wix. You need to be able to add it to the header. Like, it specifically indicates that you need to be able to add it to the header of a website. And typically that usually is a WordPress site. And yeah, I would definitely stick with WordPress. I'm sure you can add it to a Shopify site, for example. It's easy to insert code there. Wix, I imagine you can do it. I haven't tried it.
Okay.
But yeah, I would definitely stick with WordPress. An e-commerce site in WordPress, Shopify. But yeah, you'd have to take a look at, let's take a look at Wix. That's a good question. Wix. I just don't know too many people that use Wix.
I just pulled that out as one of these very,
Yeah.
Build themselves a sort of point and shoot.
Yeah, because people usually use Wix. There's Wix, now there's Groove Pages. They usually use them for landing pages. So you could have a WordPress site, and then you may want to have Wix landing page, for example. Like I use a platform called Groove. I'll create a lead gen ad in Facebook, and then I'll have like a Groove landing page because it's just one page, easy to create, and that's all I use it for. That's all you would want to use it for, while some people build whole websites. And I know with Groove pages, they do have headers that you can install into, but I wouldn't build a whole site on it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. And I have one last question. You spoke about keywords and you showed your listing of keywords through the Google Ads. How do you know, what are the indicators you're looking for to know which keywords you should be using?
Okay, so Let's go back to Google. Campaign. Oops. Back here, Keywords Planner. So let's go to choose get results. So yeah, that's why I was showing once this pulls up. You want to take a look at, for example, average monthly searches.